Explain where we are and the likely causes. We welcome now Rich Lesser. He's CEO of the Boston Consulting Group. Rich, thanks so much for being back with us. Appreciate it. Give us your take on what's going on with the labor participation in this country.
Look, it's still a highly disrupted environment for many people where life is just returning to normal, where they face challenges they haven't faced before, including related to children and families. I think we're seeing a slow return. And at the same time, the government stepped in to provide a lot of support for people, which was clearly necessary for many parts of this and may have given people a bit more freedom to think about what work they want to go back to. That won't last forever. I do think we'll see participation coming back over time, but maybe a bit slower than initially expected.
Well, let's pick up on a couple of things you just mentioned. One of them is childcare. We talked with Representative Patrick McHenry of North Carolina in the first hour of Balance of Power, and he said, as a Republican, he says we have a childcare issue in this country, and that is, to some extent, suppressing the participation in the labor market. Do you agree?
I do think it's one of the challenges in the U.S., and I do hope that whether it's at the state level or the national level, we can make it easier for parents to get the kind of care they need. And I do believe that will help participation. When you look at the distribution of lower participation by age, it clearly does not explain all of the issue, but it is almost certainly a factor.
What about retirees? Because that's another thing I've heard some economists suggest, which is we are aging as a population, and some people are leaving the workforce just because they're retiring.
Well, that's for sure true in the U.S. I mean, we are.
All right, folks, welcome back to the Marketplace Show Reset and Jumpstart. This is Anthony Weeks reporting for the program. And today's a special day for me because for a couple of reasons. Today is June 30th, so we are at the end of June, which we have we're closing out, which hallmarks another year, another month of June, celebrating National Caribbean Heritage Month. And so I thought it was fitting for me to pay homage and tribute to a Caribbean diaspora who's no longer with us, but a giant of a man who literally have molded and shaped the landscape in New York City. He was a friend, a colleague, and my mentor. He was the founder and president of the Caribbean American Chamber of Commerce and Industry in New York, better known as CACI. And he was a tireless person who really was always at the forefront of addressing and pushing forward those things that were important issues that were critical to the presence and the contribution of Caribbean Americans in New York City, but around the country and directly into the Caribbean. He left an incredible legacy. He unfortunately passed in 2020. He was one of those individuals who succumbed and who got infected with the COVID-19, and he had other underlying health issues. Prior to that, he had a stroke and made him susceptible and vulnerable to the deadly coronavirus, COVID-19. and he passed in 2020. But certainly his work will continue. One of the things that he did, and I've had many opportunities to really fellowship with him, but more so to really exchange in dialogue. What we felt are things that were important in advancing and moving the ball forward. And how do we, empower the Caribbean diaspora to have a more meaningful participation, geopolitically, socioeconomically, culturally speaking. And so when you look at the landscape of small businesses, minority-owned businesses, people of color, and you look at the contribution of the Caribbean, the late Dr. Roy Hastic made a world of a difference in the creation of the Caribbean American Chamber of Commerce and Industry in New York, better known as CACI. Now I'm now living in the U.S. Virgin Islands, but I maintain, or he insisted that I maintain my membership, and I got designated as an honorary member of the chamber, even though I was not physically in New York. My most formidable years really was spent in New York. New York has molded and shaped me. I am a Caribbean man, Caribbean American person from the Virgin Islands, but New York it's where I lived and raised my family for more than a quarter, at least not more, but almost a quarter century, and moved back home in 2003 as a way to give back. But one of the things he and I agreed on is what we envision in where the Caribbean can go, where the position that it needs to assume in order for us to have any meaningful impact to, again, the history, the heritage of Caribbean American contribution to this country. And so clearly today's program is one of those rare opportunities to be able to share with you the man, the visionary, and all that he have done for the Caribbean community, Caribbean Americans in this country, and giving back and building that bridge. The Caribbean America is the Caribbean's largest trading partner, an important partner. The Caribbean is the third border for the United States. So the geopolitical landscape is so crucial as to how we align ourselves in terms of those issues of policy, legislation, regulation, to foster the kind of collaborative environment to make a difference. And so I wanted to be able to close out National Caribbean Heritage Month by remembering and paying respect to a friend, a colleague, and a mentor, and the difference he made. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to share with you, before I share with you that interview and hearing from him yourself, I'd like to share with you that major initiative that he pursued for many years and is going to come to fruition, because it was one of the last things he did before he passed. And I've had the opportunity to be present at the groundbreaking initiative for his dream to create the Caribbean Trade Center. Okay, so the New York City Economic Development Corporation partnered, or CACI, the Caribbean American Chamber of Commerce and Industries of New York, partnered with the New York City Economic Development Corporation to do the, if you will, the acquisition and the redevelopment of this important project to implement the vision of the late Dr. Roy Hastic. So on May 15, 2019, which I attended, the release was made. City officials, local elected officials, and community stakeholders break ground on the Catton Flats in Flatbush, Brooklyn. I don't know if it's Catton or Caton, however you want to pronounce it, like tomato, tomatoes, either Catton or Caton. It's a 14-story residential building, will include 255 units of 100% affordable housing and over 20,000 square feet of community space. Transformational project will revitalize Flatbush Canton Market, a longtime anchor for Caribbean commerce and culture in New York City. The press release reads, today, New York City Economic Development Corporation, Department of Housing Preservation and Development, Housing Development Corporation, BRP companies and project partners broke ground on Canton Flats, a mixed-use development that will contain 250 100% affordable apartments, 20,000 square feet of community space, and a permanent state-of-the-art home for the revitalized and expanded Flatbush Canton Market, a 20-year-old indoor marketplace through which a variety of Caribbean merchants can operate year-round. This is a quote. It says, "We're thrilled to break ground on the Canton Flats, a project that promises to bolster and revitalize the Flatbush community," said James Patchett, president and CEO of the New York City Economic Development Corporation. Canton Flats will provide affordable housing, community space, and a new Flatbush Canton Market for all to enjoy. We thank our partners, agencies, local elected officials, community stakeholders, and development partners for their support and collaboration to deliver this project to the Flatbush community. Today, we celebrate the beginning of a new chapter for a pillar of the Flatbush community, said HPD Commissioner Lewis Carroll. Thanks to the support and partnership of BRP, the Caribbean American Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and all of our development partners. Construction on 255 affordable apartments and a new permanent location for the Flatbush Caribbean Market is now underway. This exciting development will enhance a long-time anchor of the community and provide the opportunity for culturally significant commerce and affordable housing for years to come. Located at the northwest corner of Canton and Flatbush Avenues, Canton Flats will be a 14-story building that is poised to deliver just over 220,000 square feet of residential space for the affordable housing units. Number two, 16,000 square feet of space for the market, small business incubators, and offices. Number three, 5,000 square feet of the supplemental community space to be owned and operated by the Caribbean American Chamber of Commerce and Industry, better known as CACI. And fourth, 10,000 square feet of dedicated local retail. The residential units will range from studios to 3 bedrooms and apartments and will be 100% affordable to a range of income from very low to middle income households. Additionally, the development will also include the new Flatbush Canton Market on the ground floor, featuring an upgrade amenities for the market's existing small business owner, expanded space for food vendors, including a bar, cafe, and shared commercial kitchen, as well as flex space community. I'm looking to see if I see a quote. There is a quote from incumbent Representative, U.S. Representative Yvette Clarke. That's her district. She says, "I am proud to witness the groundbreaking for the redevelopment of the Canton Flats here in the community that raised me," said U.S. Representative Yvette D. Clarke. From providing business development programs to community building activities, this vital redevelopment will create mobility and foster greater resource in the Caribbean community. The Flatbush Canton Market will promote and uplift Caribbean history, businesses, and commerce, entertainment, and art, and more. It is a blessing that our community and the rest of New York City will be able to experience and share in the richness of culture that is stored here in Flatbush. It appears that candidate for mayor, Brooklyn Borough President Eric Adams, who's running for mayor of New York City, who's the front runner, he was quoted then saying, "Breaking ground at the Canton Flats is a positive development that has been a long time in the making of Flatbush," said Brooklyn Borough President Eric L. Adams. "When completed, this project will provide 100% affordable housing units while boosting our small business community. I'm also thrilled that it will house the Flatbush Canton Market, a true community institution and a hub for Caribbean American vendors. My administration recognizes the potential of this site from the beginning, investing millions of dollars into the project to bring it to fruition, and believe it should serve as a model for community-based development throughout the five boroughs." Here's a quote from my colleague, Dr. Roy Hastick. Here is an image of Dr. Roy Hastick, and also an image of the new Canton Market or Canton of the Flats development and the Canton Market. And you see the late Dr. Roy Hastick in this imagery here. And you see him here also at his desk. You see all of the plaques and awards that he has behind him. Dr. Roy Hastick was an incredible man and led by example. And clearly you can see he was very patriotic. He was true to the Caribbean, and he had all the different Caribbean flags on his desk. Here was also another image of Dr. Roy Hastick, and that is the logo of Dr. Roy Hastick, looking at which he should have in a sense of pride, looking at what he's created, the legacy. His memory will live on forever, because clearly his family and loved ones should be proud of his legacy, and they have a foundation to build on. But here's what he said. He said, "The groundbreaking ceremony is part of the extensive process of the redevelopment of the Canton Flats, formerly known as Flatbush Canton Market, which began in 2001, said Dr. Roy A. Hastick, Sr., President and founder of CACI, the Caribbean American Chamber of Commerce and Industry. "It is a critical step in strengthening Brooklyn's Caribbean American, African American, and other minority community." So what I'll do is I'll stop there. And what I'll do is I will now share with you, again, this is my interview, one of the rare interviews that you will see that I'm going to broadcast here on the program for the first time, because it's again, it's my way of really understanding, just the contribution and the difference he's made. And here is Dr. Roy Hastick and my interview with Dr. Roy Hastick, talking about clearly those things. And so here we have this coming up on the
islands
program.
in the Netherlands and Antilles.
Okay, good.
And I want you all to meet, because I'm sure you have a representative or looking for a representative.
Yes. Okay.
3, 2, 1.
Welcome back, folks. This is Anthony Weeks from the Marketplace, live on location on the Borough Hall here in Brooklyn. Another spectacular event put on by the Caribbean American Chamber of Commerce, better known as CACI, in conjunction with the president, the borough president's office, Eric Adams. And it's, of course, in recognition, acknowledgement of the contribution of the Caribbean diaspora in this country, specifically in the New York tri-state area. And of course, I'm with none other than Dr. Roy Hastick. He's the founder president of CACI. Roy, as usual, thank you so much for being part of the program. And would you say, were you pleased with the outcome?
Yes, I'm pleased with the outcome. Of course, I want to thank you for being here.
Sure.
You're doing an outstanding job in St. Croix and throughout the Caribbean and also around the world. And we're happy that you're a member of the Caribbean American Chamber of Commerce and Industry. And you're here not only to represent your viewing audience, but also to make sure that you continue to support CACI and what we're doing here in New York.
You've been a hard, working champion of the cause of Caribbean people, the Caribbean community. It's been a long time. You've been at this for a while. Are you pleased with the progress to date? Have we made enough progress, or do we just pretty much say we have arrived, or do we have a lot more work to do?
Well, I'm looking at a few areas. Let me say that we are getting there. When I started in 1985 with the Caribbean American Chamber of Commerce and Industry, it was more or less a dream. Today it's a reality. And the reason I say this is because it took me almost 20 years to realize that whatever you are doing, it has to be sustainable and it has to have that economic development trust behind it. And after, I would say, 2 decades, after doing over 800 seminars and providing many type of different services, financial literacy, getting people certified within the city of New York, and helping people to start, manage, and operate their businesses, I decided that we have to move in the other direction. And I decided to focus on a sustainable project that we would have so that we can join forces with our elected officials, the mayor of the city of New York, Bill de Blasio, the congresswoman who is of Caribbean descent, Yvette de Clark, the council member, Dr. Matthew Eugene, who is of Haitian descent, the assemblywoman, 2 of them, one is Haitian and the other one is, she's from St. Martin for the first time. We all came together working with the developer that the city selected to make sure that we have a sustainable project, and that project is a mixed-use project. It's a home of the Caribbean American Chamber of Commerce and Industry. It will be a micro-enterprise incubator. They're helping almost 50 entrepreneurs, micro-entrepreneurs to become entrepreneurs, and also to make sure that we help emerging businesses to become capable of getting contracts with the city and affordable housing.
Of course. So now, when we look at the trajectory of the timeline in terms of what you have accomplished throughout the years, CACI is an institutional name by itself. Do you think it would be possible to continue to make forward progress without the vehicle or the foundation of what you are now looking to embark on in terms of creation of a Caribbean Trade Center? Do you think we could continue to make inroad strides without it, or this is something that is so critical to that further growth and development as a people in terms of the brand and the institution?
Well, I think having the facility gives us equity, 1. 2, it's enable us to sustain ourselves and helps us to bring badly needed services to our CARICOM brothers and sisters who are looking to the New York metropolitan area, the market, to trade, to do business, especially in the import and export arena. And as I said this morning, that we are working hard with the city and the state to make sure that the billions of dollars that Caribbean Americans pay back into the pension funds, that can be used to invest in the Caribbean. So I think it's important. And the other thing I want to mention, we cannot forget education. New York City have an excellent higher education opportunity. We have Bill Thompson, who was Deputy Borough President here, Board of Ed President many years, and ran for mayor of the city of New York. And now he is the chairman of the City University of New York. He is of Division St. Kitts, needless to say. We are talking about 24 CUNY colleges around the city of New York that can help our children and grandchildren access education. And soon in New York, we'll have free tuition for people who cannot afford tuition for the children.
That's big.
That's a major.
Yes, absolutely. And finally, where are we in terms of the project itself? I know you did the announcement of the site. When is construction going to take place, and in terms of when do you anticipate completion?
Well, the process was first we selected the city selected the developer. It's a minority developer and someone of Caribbean descent, plus marrying, partnering with an African American brother. They have that company, and they do a lot of buildings within the city. The selection was critical. The rezoning was another step that had to be taken. The area of where the building's going to be had to be rezoned to increase the size of the building to 15 stories so that we can accommodate more affordable housing in that area. Now they're doing the testing on the grounds of the present project facility we have in the parking area and inside. And then by the fall, I think, we'll be able to break ground to start the construction of the project. But as you know, we have vendors in the market now.
Currently there.
So we have to relocate them. And we're working with the city of New York to make sure that the transition is going smoothly.
That's fantastic. So we can clearly look at the tangible results of the hard work you've done over the years in terms of obviously the whole education, outreach, and really connecting with the broader community, the creation of businesses and the investment within the community, of course, looking at now opening up the trade prospect between the Caribbean and the Caribbean diaspora and other, if you will, marketplaces. Then you, of course, you talk about how do we create more jobs as well. And so these are very, very specific, tangible things that one can point to in terms of the progress and the work CACI has done over the years.
We have I'm on the board of the Brooklyn Navy Yard,
right?
One of the largest economic development park in the city of New York on the northeast in the U.S. And what the city did, created a nonprofit corporation over the past, I think it started in the 70s,
right,
to take a Navy yard and redevelop it into a commercial hub.
And it's beautiful. The transformation has been just wonderful.
It's an excellent project, and now it is a best practice. Right. If you come to New York City, you've got to go to the Brooklyn
Navy Yard. Exactly. Interesting.
They turned it from
All right, so that was the first interview that I had with Dr. Roy Hastick. We have two more interviews that we're going to play, but I wanted to just kind of give you a little bit of a personal background history, just tell you who the man was. I mean, I did open up and really very specifically focus on his legacy, that he left a legacy. But I want to be able to share a little more with you as to what I believe why this man was a giant. And so I want to put back up on the screen that my hope is, okay, this is where the new home, I'm not sure if the project, it was under construction. I'm not sure if it's completed as yet, but this is the home, the new home at the Canton Flats and Canton Market is where this is that headquarters. That is where Dr. Roy Hastick and his vision to create the Caribbean Trade Center. This is where it is in Flatbush. Now, if you know anything about New York City and the Caribbean community, Flatbush is like the capital. It is Little Caribbean, if you will, if I can call it that. And it's where a lot of Caribbean people obviously live throughout the state. But when you talk about maybe the most condensed version of an area that has a large representation of Caribbean people, all of you, I'm sure if at some point you've heard of the Labor Day Carnival, which is celebrated by the Caribbean community. They said the number is, and I'm just stating what they said, that you have 2 million people attend that event. 2 million. So if you want to understand the breadth of how many people, how many Caribbean people, not only within Brooklyn, Flatbush, but within the New York tri-state area, you have the most condensed population of Caribbean people throughout the country. You have that condensed population in the tri-state area. So it's no surprise that 2.5 million Caribbean people in that proximity. So when they have this one big Labor Day West Indian carnival or event, they converge on what you call on Eastern Parkway to be able to celebrate that. And so the impact of the Caribbean community is significant. But specifically, when you look at the man, Dr. Roy Hastick, and his role and his contribution to not only the Brooklyn borough, and I got to tell you, Dr. Roy Hastick is he would be his joy. He would be just rejoicing to see that his good friend and longtime supporter, Brooklyn Borough President, Eric Adams, is the front runner, the Democratic front runner for the city of New York. If candidate for mayor Eric Adams is successful, it will be the second time in the history of New York that they would have elected a person of color, African American, into City Hall. The first one was the late Mayor David Dinkins, and if Eric Adams is successful, he would be the second mayor to be elected to City Hall as an African American mayor of New York City. So right now he is ahead in the Democratic primary, and he's going to go up against the Republican challenger or whoever the challenger is. But Dr. Roy Hastick and Brooklyn Borough President Eric Adams were very close, good friends and supporter of each other. And Roy would have been just elated to see where Eric Adams is in terms of his success right now, and would be right there, supporting him and cheering him on. And it's my hope that if there is an opportunity to name this new Canton Flats or Canton Market in Flatbush, whether it's the name of his name on the building, or they name the street right in front of the Canton Market, because obviously the Canton Market is that place where the Caribbean American Chamber of Commerce were tenants and ran the market. And so I only think it's only fitting for them to pay homage to him by simply allowing him his name to go in perpetuity, his name to be there, either the name of the street or the name on the building as a tribute to Dr. Roy, the late Dr. Roy Hastic Sr. As well. And so let me just say that again, the photograph you see there, that's the building that I want to believe that it is completed. If it's not, it's just about being completed. But this is him. That's Dr. Roy Hastic. And looking at the plaque for CACI. But let me just share with you, right? Dr. Roy Hastic was born May 10th, 1950, in St. David's, Grenada, West Indies, to George and Rose Hastic. Dr. Roy Hastic has always wanted to achieve that great American dream and found an opportunity to migrate to the United States in 1972. When he arrived, Hastic worked at the Port Authority and became friendly with a commissioner who opened the door for him into politics and political activity. He also worked for several years as the administrator, community advocate, and entrepreneur and newspaper publisher. Hastic was sought out by the Brooklyn Economic Development Corporation, a joint venture of Brooklyn Union Gas and Consolidated Edison, manufacturer Hanover Bank, and Brooklyn Borough President Office to start discussion leading to the formation of the Caribbean American Chamber of Commerce in 1995. Dr. Roy A. Hastic Sr. founded the Caribbean American Chamber of Commerce and Industry, but known as CACI, with 10 founding members. Hastic is considered an empire builder. Under his leadership, the organization has become a well-recognized business entity. In 1986, on Christmas Day, Hastic married his love, Ida, and together they worked endlessly to ensure the success of CACI. Again, when we look at his contribution as an ardent supporter of two-way trade between the United States and the Caribbean region, Hastic, an elected delegate to the 1995 White House Conference on Small Businesses, campaigned and was successful in getting two-way trade with the Caribbean region into the final recommendation that were submitted to the United States Congress. Through his tireless efforts, advocacy, and visionary leadership, CACI has undertaken and accomplished several challenging initiatives, including providing weekly small business clinics, business services for micro enterprises on how to start and manage, operate, and expand a business in New York, small business development network and business seminars, workshops, and monthly power breakfast meetings. In collaboration with CACI and membership of the wider Caribbean, including New York State, New York City, borough-elect officials, academic institutions, WLIB New York, Daily News, New York Carib News, and the West Indies American Day Carnival Association, CACI has provided rapid emergency disaster relief in response to hurricane disasters in the Caribbean region, including such nations as St. Kitts Nevis, Anguilla, Antigua, Barbuda, Haiti, Grenada, Puerto Rico, Jamaica, U.S. Virgin Islands, St. Martin, and Dominican Republic. And so I wanted to be able to share that with you. And what I'd like to do now is pull up the second interview and share with you the groundbreaking ceremony for the Canton Market that took place in Brooklyn. I had the opportunity. I was invited, and I had the opportunity to show up and be there at the groundbreaking event. And this is that second interview with Dr. Roy Hastic speaking at the podium.
What I truly love and what I know everyone here truly loves about this city is its diversity. As many of you know, 6 out of every 10 New Yorkers is an immigrant or a child of immigrants. And each of those identities etches into who we are as a city. It's what makes us richer as New Yorkers. It creates an incredible tapestry of ambitions and identities that really fuel the strength of our city. We at Economic Development Corporation, under the leadership of Mayor Bill de Blasio, are working to incorporate those stories, those lived experiences into our built environment. And the Flatbush Caton Market does exactly that. The market has come such a long way, undergoing evolution since it was just a star in the eyes of its founders, including former council member Dr. Una Clark, who's with us here this morning, and Dr. Roy Hastek from the Caribbean American.
But they are looking down at us. But they left visionaries like Una Clark. Give her a round of applause. I call her Council Member Emeritus. Eric Adams, my good friend and brother, and Una is my mentor. And I left individuals like Matthew Jean, like Rodney Bouchette, and many others who are here with us this morning to continue their legacy. Meredith has to be very careful because I came from a small island called Grenada, Carriacou, and Petite Martinique. But I arrived here 42 years ago, right in this community, and I'm still here 4 blocks away from this historic site. My friends, all what I would like to say this morning was said. So I'm going to be very short. But it's a morning to thank our stakeholders who collaborated on this project. I thank Mayor de Blasio, Eric Adams, Diana Reyna, Congresswoman Yvette de Clark for very influencing the appointment of our distinguished president of New York City Economic Development Corporation, my good friend, President Springer. She is not only the president of EDC, but she was former commissioner of DSPS. And as we mentioned DSPS and EDC, as Meredith mentioned, we have to focus on the micro entrepreneurs that will be helped here at the market. Nurturing those micro entrepreneurs to become entrepreneurs, to move from the market to Church Avenue, Flatbush Avenue, downtown Brooklyn, so that become viable entrepreneurs making a contribution towards this economy. And DSPS is in place to work with Urbane and many other partners to make sure that they become viable entrepreneurs. We also want to make sure that we help the emerging business owners, collaborating with the block associations, the LDCs, Brooklyn Chamber of Commerce, my good friend Carlos, who worked with me on this project. I also want to make sure that we have the hub that Councilwoman Ian Clark mentioned. This is, I might not live to see the building, but I know that it was said today that we have to create and continue the legacy for children and grandchildren who would benefit from this project. For too long, our elected officials are in offices. They do good work, but there isn't much that you can touch and say that they contributed towards that project. Today, when you look at the building over there, you don't see Dr. Walter Stewart's name, the first Panamanian state senator of this great borough of Brooklyn. I want to thank our board of directors who are here with me this morning. Balfour Peart, the chairman, who is from Nevis, where Alexander Hamilton is from. I want to thank my wife, Dr. Ida Hastic, and the other part of Roy Hastic, Edmund Sanio. Also Bishop Cecil Riley, who is a Catholic today, not a Presbyterian. What a team. George Hulse, who hails from Belize. We can't forget Belize is in the house. And Harry Fauché, who is not here, but he is of Haitian descent, who is also on our board. I want to thank all of them for the support. Today is an exciting day. Today is a day to thank everybody. I know that I'm going to miss some of you in the audience, but please give yourselves a round of applause. You've been able to be part of this historic announcement today. And I just want to tell you that I am elated. I'm elated because EDC saw it fit. And that's not an easy organization to deal with. But the rollout of this project was something that I thought that if I had to go back to school to learn this, it would take me 3 years. But I want to say to you, Madam President, that your staff is capable of not only making this possible. When you look in the neighborhood and you see the renaissance of this great borough and this great city, I just want to say to you, only in America, Diana, only in America that many of us can come from humble beginnings with a few dollars in our pockets and today stand here to represent a multi-million-dollar project. God bless you all. Thank you. My wife always reminds me of people I left out. And I just want to recognize Ben Guyver's Dean of Small Business, Dean Rowe, who I spoke to me that last night. God bless you all. If I forgot you, don't beat up on me. But President Torres, we have the Comptroller's Office represented, Kenya, who is our neighbor. Thank you, God bless you, and be part of the celebration. Thanks a lot.
That was the late Dr. Roy A. Hastic Sr. He was larger than life. He dreamt, and he executed. And my friend, it's farewell for now, but I hope that on the other side, you and I will reunite, and just exchange thoughts. Again, this was a special broadcast in tribute to Dr. Roy Hastic, A. Hastic Sr., a great man, and I just felt it was fitting to be able to close out National June as National Caribbean Heritage Month with a tribute to Dr. Roy Hastic. Born May 10th, 1950. His day of passing was April 8th, 2020. Folks, that's it for us. Until next time, this has been another installment of the Marketplace Business Economy and Public Policy, segment number 2. We'll talk soon.